Arrived in Raleigh for stop number 3 on our ACC football road trip. Last season didn't go the way the NC State Wolfpack hoped, but there may have been a silver lining. The Pack may have found their quarterback of the future in C.J. Bailey. Now Bailey's got a new offensive coordinator and huge expectations. It's time to preview the Pack, who could be a dark horse in the ACC this season. The NC State road trip starts right now. Welcome to NC State. The countdown is officially on to August 28th. They'll be jam-packed at Carter Finley Stadium that Thursday night because the Wolfpack are kicking off the season the same way they ended it against East Carolina. Preparation for that showdown begins today, fellas. It's day 1 of camp, and I got 2 great guys to discuss it all. Former Clemson captain, that's Eric McLean, and college football analyst and former Georgia Tech quarterback, Tom Luginbill. I'm Justin Walters. You guys have been here. Day 1 of camp. What's the juice like? What is it like waking up today knowing we're about to get after it?
Oh, man, it's the best. You know, and there's a couple of different vantage points you can look at it, right? If you're an older guy, experienced guy, a leader on the team, who's been there, done that, you're probably like, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
Camp. How can I get through this? How can I, not get hurt? If you're a younger guy, though, man, you're just biting at the bit, saying, let's go full speed. And I'll tell you this, don't fall down. Keep your feet, stay up, and run around, and you'll be in a good spot.
All I know is this is where the routine truly begins, down to the very second of when you wake up and when you go to bed. And you're right about the upperclassmen. All right, it's another training camp. And these young guys are all getting excited for about the first 3 days. Then the young guys are trying to survive. They are literally trying not to die. And that's where I think the leadership of your upperclassmen really can impact your younger players because they've been there, right? You got to hang in there. You're going to throw up? Go ahead and do it. We've all done it, right? You're going to drag. You're going to get your ass chewed by somebody? Fine. We've all been there. That's part of it. It's part of the growth process, and that starts today.
I think it was so funny. I was having a little PTSD when you're talking about to the second. I mean, you remember getting those schedules, and it's literally 05, 010, it just keeps going down the list like every single second of your day.
It's all right. Both of you guys are removed.
Out, sleep.
Now you can talk the game. Let's go all access and take a look at the full slate that we have because we're going to have a lot of guests joining us right here on set. That starts off with head coach Dave Dorn, back here for year number 13. C.J. Bailey, as well as Sean Brown will be joining us. Mic'd up with first-year defensive coordinator D.J. Elliott. He'll be joining Tom Luginbill. And then we go inside access with the equipment staff. Let's take a look now at the top offseason storylines for the NC State Wolfpack as they begin preseason camp. As I mentioned, C.J. Bailey returns. Second most passing yards by a true freshman in NC State history behind. I think we've heard of that guy before.
Once or twice.
Phillip Rivers, future Hall of Famer. NC State welcomes back 2 new coordinators, but it'll be up to D.J. Elliott to turn around the defense that wasn't up to standard for the Pack last season. And then the season opener, mark it off on the calendar, August 28th against rival East Carolina. The 2 played in the Military Bowl, which was won by ECU, and it featured some fisticuffs and physical play. So let's take a look at NC State's calendar. Starts on August 28th right here at home. They're going to take on UVA in week 2. They have a favorable slate. They could start off red hot, fellas. A big-time matchup October 11th at Notre Dame. And then they end the season November 29th against North Carolina. Day 1 of camp, Lugs. What are you looking for? What do you have an eye on? Who do you want to see today?
Well, 2 things. I want to see what this defense is going to look like because a year ago it was unrecognizable. And I want to see the energy, the voice, the perspective, the philosophical identity that this defense is going to be under DJ Elliott. The vast majority of the front 7 is back and go to more of a traditional 4 down front. The back end is where they added some transfer portal areas and guys to some areas where they feel like they had to improve on that part of the defense on the back half. And then offensively, this is a team returning a ton of returning production. New offensive coordinator Kurt Roper. But I want to see this offensive football team find a way to move forward, not backward. Way too many negative plays a year ago, and it literally handcuffs you at every turn. They got to come up with a way of being more productive on early downs to stay ahead of the chains.
Yeah, if it puts you in a horrible spot. And oh, by the way, you had a freshman quarterback back there, and nobody wants to deal with long yardage on second downs, for sure, third down, especially not a young cat that is just trying to survive and get out there and thrive. But I'm excited for his development, and especially with that man that you just saw right there, Kurt Roper, the new OC that's coming in. He's been here. He's the quarterback coach. There was a relationship there. So it's not like we're having to learn each other. What do we like? What do you not like? He knows all of that, which I think that's very freeing for him as a play caller, and just to see how much he is introduced. I mean, this is obviously going to be his offense from a play calling perspective, language-wise. How different is it going to be? Run game, pass game, protections, because he's obviously done stuff for a long, long time, right? And when he's thinking about it, that's how he does it. That might not be what they did last year. How much change is CJ and company having to deal with?
Well, if you look at Kurt Roper's background, it's steeped in the David Cutcliffe coaching tree, right? And that's going to be a little bit more pro style, a little bit multiple, maybe a little bit more two-back, not so much pure spread. It may not necessarily be about how fast can we go. So I think you're going to see a more diversified offense in terms of shifts, formations, motions, and personnel groupings than maybe we've seen in the years past.
All right, fellas, we're just getting started here. NC State road trip is off and rocking. Up next, we're going to hear the leader of the pack. That is Dave Dorn. And fellas, he had a memorable offseason because he did something that was pretty remarkable on the golf course. We'll hear from Dave Dorn and check out that priceless moment next. Welcome back to NC State. It's year number 13 for Dave Dorn in Raleigh. And guess what, fellas? The longtime coach recently joined an exclusive golf club. Oh! Take a look at this priceless moment.
No way it went in.
Dad, potential hole-in-one on 18. Potential.
I mean, where else could it be?
Oh, my God.
Oh, my goodness.
Please be in there.
Unbelievable. Yeah! Unbelievable.
Yeah! Woo! Are you kidding me? Let's go.
What do you guys say? What do you guys
18th
say?
hole, cliffhangers. Bang! Hole in one!
Go Pack.
Come on, baby.
Oh, let's welcome in NC State head coach Dave Dorn. Hole-in-one, coach, where does that stack up in your golf career?
It's good karma for the season.
That's a fact.
I love that. Manifest.
Yeah, it's taken a long time, 53 years, to get the ball in the hole. You know? I don't care how long the hole is either. You know, you get it in, you get it in.
That's a big deal.
How'd you finish the round?
I mean, fine.
Yeah.
I was pretty happy.
Walk us through the hole. Set it up. What kind of?
You said
par
par
3,
five.
par 4, par 5.
I wish
what
it
was
a par 5. Yeah. No, it was the 18th hole. I don't know, downhill, 60-some yards, 60-degree wedge, and you couldn't see the hole. You could just see the flag.
Blind shot.
Saw it land and spin back and didn't know if it was in or off the green. So that's why we were wondering when we got down there, did it go in or not? And then, you know, it's a beautiful place in the Ozarks where you have all these limestone formations and caves. So I just took off running to the cave. You can see Connor, my youngest son, chasing me. Yeah. And, it was a fun celebration that night.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Well, here we are, year 32. We say 13 here, 32 overall, and it's day one. How is this any different? What's your routine? What's going through your head day one of camp?
Well, I'm just excited to see, you know, I have a lot of new things, new players, some new coaches. The summer was very intense. Thunder Dan, our strength coach, and his staff did a great job pushing them and raising the bar. I felt like, you know, our accountability wasn't where it needed to be as a program last year, and that's on me. And so we set out January on to push this program back to where we were, knocking on the door and being in the top 25. And so it was an intense summer, and now it's time to see where we're at with these players and all the competitions we have for playing time.
Coach, I know how much emphasis you put on player development, team chemistry, leadership.
Yeah.
And a year ago, you know, you arguably your two best, most vocal leaders, Caden and Grayson, go down. And it's hard with the transactional nature of this sport now to maintain a healthy core unit. How did you go about this offseason trying to maybe upgrade the leadership side of this football team?
Yeah, it's something in years past, Isaiah Moore got hurt one year. Drake Thomas stepped in and was a vocal leader on the spot. The team just kept going. And you saw Peyton Wilson, when he returned from injury, take over the leadership of our football team. Losing Caden and Grayson was a huge challenge. And we failed. I failed having that next man up ready to lead, not to play. And so this offseason, we did a lot of leadership training with a lot of guys, returning players with experience, young players that have proven themselves, and teaching them the tools they need to have tough conversations with teammates, the tools they need to stand in front of a group of young men and guys that are their peers and demand accountability from each other. And then also what they need to be doing away from the game so that it's not just voice and words, it's actions, because there's nothing worse than a guy standing in front of the team telling them what should be done and he's not doing it.
Yeah.
That fake leadership will crush your locker room. And so I spent a lot of time, had a lot of help. Mike Irwin, who's a former leader in the military, has been gracious with his time to help us and come in, and he teaches leadership at West Point and has done a great job helping me and helping our team.
That's awesome. And I know the guys were probably super receptive to that when you have those outsiders that have done it literally for your freedom and for things of that nature. I remember a couple of years ago, Coach, you were talking to us and you said, quarterbacks figured out I can go everywhere else and I can worry about that, and that's a big piece of the puzzle. How do you feel about that situation this year, and how's your quarterback grown going into year 2? It's
nice to have a returning starter at that position. It's been a while for me, and I early in my career was spoiled, I guess, Jacoby for 3 years, Ryan Fenley for 3 years, and then Devin got hurt, and then we had a transfer thing going for a while. So when you know who that guy is, you can build everything around him, and the receiver chemistry with him the whole offseason, he's throwing the ball. They know who their guy is, and I'm helping him grow as a vocal leader. And so it makes what I'm doing completely different, and really your focus now is on all those other positions that have competition and need development.
Coach, I heard you at kickoff speaking about you not feeling that there's pressure to win this season. I'm curious, when did you adopt that philosophy, and how do you instill that into your players to make sure that they keep the main thing?
Coaches want to win every game. Players want to win every game. It's funny to me when is there pressure to win. Like, that's the sport. Like, when you get on this field and you compete, that's what you want to do, is win every game. So to me, I don't know. I mean, it's who you are. You know what I mean? It's if that's making you nervous to go compete, you're in the wrong arena. Like, I'm excited to go compete, and I look at it as a privilege, to go out there and have that opportunity.
From an evaluation standpoint throughout the offseason, you obviously try to find some pieces to improve your depth, improve your talent. It looked like that was in the secondary as far as the transfer portal goes. I know it's early on, but how have you felt about those additions?
Well, that's why we're on the field. I mean, we're definitely faster with all of our times that we got from the end of the summer. When you look at our times from the 40s at safety, nickel, and corner. So we've improved our overall speed, and now we got to go play the sport and see how they play the ball and defend and tackle.
Coach, appreciate you making the time. If that hole-in-one is a foreshadowing for the upcoming season, it's going to be a great year for the Pack. Dave Dorn, year number 13 here. Thank you. Take a look at this. The most wins by an ACC team since 2013. Clemson leading the Pack at 140, but right there in fourth is NC State with 87. Remember, 2013 with Dave Dorn's first season here. The only time this school has had a double-digit win season was in 2002. But Lugs, I know you've been high on this team because a lot of people are sleeping on them. Do you think they can take the next step?
I do. Two things have to happen for this program. Number one, you can't lose to somebody that you're not supposed to. And number two, you have to beat somebody that you're quote-unquote not supposed to. Those are the two things that have eluded this program to some degree. They've been so close. The thing they have going for them is nobody's talking about them. They're just lying down here in the weeds while everybody's focusing on LSU and Louisville and Miami and Clemson, and that's fine, and that's exactly how Dave Dorn wants it. And so, listen, there's a lot of positives that would point to, even with your schedule, I think they're going to be 5-1 or 6-0 going into the Notre Dame game. And then obviously the back half of that slate is going to be deeply competitive.
Right.
But they're capable of that with this team they've got coming back.
I don't think there's any question about that. And you talk about, okay, how do you take the next step? Is this year a year early? Maybe. When we're talking about junior, CJ and the things that he's going to do next year, then you start to get really, really excited. Then you start talking about ACC championship. Can they keep this nucleus together? Who's going to be leaving? Who's going to be moving on? Things of that nature. But they have the formula for success.
Yeah.
These guys win. Dave Doeren wins. That's all he does. Winningest coach in the history of NC State. And, he should have had a 10-win season if it wasn't for a team opting out of a bowl game. And so it's unfortunate that he doesn't have that. He's chasing that elusive double-digit wins for the second time in program history. And that's the other thing, Luke. It's not like there's this unbelievable dynastic approach of this to where, people are salty of this and that. Mm-hmm. That's all this guy does is win. And he does it at a high level. And so I think they are extremely close to taking that next step. I've talked to the strength staff. I've talked to some of these coaches. The accountability piece was huge this summer. They made that a huge point of emphasis. If you're late, we're running. Yeah. If you're late 1 second, we're running. Yeah. And that starts at the top down.
And there's never been a more difficult time in college football, in my opinion, to sustain excellence, to sustain consistency. Mm-hmm. That's what Dave Doeren has done. And with the transactional nature of the sport now, everybody thinks you just wave a magic wand. Well, it's not just the player that you bring in and the player that goes out the door. It's how do you get all of these new guys in a very short period of time to all toe the rope in the same direction? Because, when you're recruiting the high school level, you're recruiting and you're thinking about it from a 3 to 4 to 5 year plan. All right. And so you have your core nucleus, your foundational pillars of the program. But now that's not what we have anymore in recruiting. It's about the choices and the decisions that you make. Do you make the wrong ones in the portal? Or do you make the correct ones in the portal? And then how do you get them all gel together quickly? And that's where Dave Doeren has a history of success because he's a program builder and he's a player developer.
And I think a lot of this, we're talking about how can they take the next step, is staying healthy.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Like you look at some of the teams that they were supposed to have really great players. Devin Leary hurt. Can't finish the season. Peyton Wilson hurt. Can't finish the season. Last year, the star player, on the defensive side that we thought Caden Fordham was going to take the step, hurt. And so it's one of those things where there's some luck involved with being really good. And can you get that for a season? Can it all come together? We'll see.
And we're speaking about that next step. It feels like the key to that starts under center. CJ Bailey back for another year. Coming up next, the signal caller for the Wolfpack is going to be joining us here on set. The freshman, at least last year, put up numbers that we haven't seen since Phillip Rivers. And he's back. He's bulked up a little bit. He's wearing his high school number.
Come on.
CJ Bailey will join us next on the set. NC State road trip. Game time.
I love the way he can play. He's been around great talent coming from South Florida.
That's why I play quarterback. I like feeling the pressure.
Bailey throws to the end zone. It's caught. Touchdown. But then the athleticism, extending plays, allowing time for receivers to get open.
So efficient and so accurate with the football.
Second most passing yards by a true freshman.
Going to the corner of the end zone. Touchdown, Wolfpack.
CJ Bailey delivers.
CJ, he's ready for the moment.
Let's welcome in NC State star quarterback CJ Bailey. New and improved, 15 pounds of muscle. CJ, when you look at last year, putting up numbers comparable to NC State legend Phillip Rivers, how did you process that, and how was everything going for you coming into this year now as a leader of the team?
Yeah, it was a great feeling to know that, I had a great year and, my stats is, was good, last year. But it literally built confidence for me going into this year. And, filling that role of a starter now and, having the team's control and, having guys around me, it just gives me more confidence and I'm more eager to, be the starter for the team.
Come on, man. You look at the Slim Reaper a year ago. You put on some weight, bro. You look good. Changed your number. And, man, I'm excited to see today. Day one, just as the quarterback, what's your expectation for the offense today?
Yeah, I just want everybody to, offense just to communicate well, be not more executing a lot, but just knowing the calls, knowing where to line up and, getting everybody on the same page. Because this first day Chronicles, a lot of stuff goes wrong, but we want to start slow day by day. That's what it is.
When you arrived on campus a year ago, right, there's a lot going on. You're getting acclimated to being away from home, academics, getting to know the football team. It's hard to embrace that leadership role. And then you get thrown into the fire and become the starting quarterback. Now fast forward to this point. What's been your greatest growth, whether it's been physically, mentally, emotionally? Where do you think you've improved the most?
100%. I feel like I improved the most in my leadership. I was kind of laid back. We had Grayson McCall last year. He was a great quarterback, a great leader on the team. And, I looked up to him. I watched almost everything he did. You know, I'm taking it into this year, and I improved it, you know, from spring into the summer, you know, using my voice more and, you know, bringing energy, because that's how I lead. I bring a lot of energy, and everybody goes off how I am. So, like, of course, 100% I feel I improve leadership.
That's exciting to hear, and you have a new coordinator. The good thing is it was your quarterback coach, and you have that relationship, so you're not having to learn a new person and how they are. You guys are right there together. That synergy should be really impressive today on the field, but also this entire season.
Yeah.
How has that been, his promotion to offensive coordinator, and what can we expect from the offense?
Yeah, it's been great. Getting with Coach Rope, and he's the offensive coordinator. He was my quarterback coach last year. We're on the same page. You know, he knows me well, and I know him well. So, like, when those big time situations come, he's gonna ask me what I want, or he gonna know what I want, because we have that connection. We think alike. And it's been a great feeling. The offense is way different. It's more pro style. It's more fast paced. Because he understands what I could do.
As a freshman, sometimes the tendency is to spoon feed you so you don't overload a younger player that hasn't played a lot of football. Well, now you've played quite a bit of football, and there's a sample size there. How much has Coach Roper and yourself sat down and said, okay, we're going to put this on your plate now. You're going to have control over this at the line of scrimmage. Has that grown?
Yeah, it's definitely grown from last year. He's not treating me like a freshman anymore. I'm a grown man, So he just, throwing everything at me at once and try to see what I can handle and what I can't, So I'm glad that he's doing that, and now it's going to show on the practice field.
CJ, you spoke about your relationship with Grayson McCall, and I remember last year when you were thrusted into the fire, your first start at Clemson, how helpful it was to have that guy in your corner. Do you feel more advanced, not just having those reps from last season, but having a skilled quarterback that you're able to pick his brain?
Yeah, I love it. I said to everybody all the time, without Grayson, there was a lot of stuff could have happened for me. Like, I'm glad I had a guy like that, a veteran in front of me that, teach me the rights and wrongs of everything, was a perfect leader, a perfect role model, and he helped me out throughout the season, even when he was out. He was done. He came to Clemson. He came the rest of the season. He, shot me a text before I even came here. Like, this the first day of practice. Lead your troops.
That's amazing.
It's great.
You love to have a guy like that, a leader in your corner. I want to talk a little bit about your pass catchers, wide receivers, tight ends, running backs. There's a lot of skill around you. What can we expect to see from them all year?
Yeah, there's a lot of freak athletes on our offense, and our receivers is crazy. We're going to see a lot of explosive plays out of big-time play catchers like Noah Rogers, Wesley Grimes, and Keenan Jackson, and Terrell Anderson. We're going to see a lot of plays made, explosive plays, and it's going to help us score more points for NC State.
We're excited to see you boys get after it. Day number 1 of camp, star quarterback C.J. Bailey. Lean, but he bulked up a little bit.
A lot of bit.
Good luck this season.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all.
You just heard CJ reference some of these guys. Hollywood Smothers in the backfield, tight end Justin Jolie, Noah Rogers, year number 2 for him. These are going to be some of the skilled
some
players.
Some bad boys right there, man.
Absolutely. He's going to be hooking up with plenty and often. All right, guy, one player that you do not see here featured is Casey Concepcion. So, EMAC, you asked CJ about that. Who is going to be the guy that steps up? Who is going to be his primary target? What do you make of this group?
Yeah, to fill that void, right, with KC moving on. I think it's going to be Noah Rogers, right? Like, that guy is dynamic as it gets. Super freshman, coming out of high school, goes to Ohio State, transfers back home. And there were some flashes last year. And, Tom, I think he's a guy that deep threat, total body of work, but I want to see him going deep early and often.
The other guy I would look to that's not on that list, as you referenced, is sophomore Keenan Jackson. Got a taste of it a year ago as a true freshman. He's a guy that can take the top off of the defense. He played enough to give this coaching staff a real sense of what's to come. He's got great leadership qualities. And so whether they're in, you talk to C.J. Bailey, you talk to Kurt Roper, a little bit more pro style. We may not be as much 4 wide as we've seen NC State in before, but when those sub-package models start coming in and you get that guy in the slot or the guy that can play the slot and on the outside, Keenan Jackson's one of those guys. I think he's poised to have a breakout sophomore year.
I think Justin Jolie is going to be another guy, right, at the tight end position. And you talk about, more pro style. Is there multiple tight ends and you move him around? Is he going to be, more of a 3-back type of a person, but he can do it all. And I love his versatility. Clearly can stretch the field, can take off after the catch, the yak there that he's able to possess. Just a dynamic pass catcher that, he's a matchup nightmare, and that's what you love to see within these offenses.
If you go back to last year and you try to identify the issues, right? Okay, well, it's tough. You lose a vocal leader and a veteran guy at quarterback. You go with the true freshman. And then you compound the issue because on early downs, this was a very leaky offense. Constantly under barrage and pass rush. Maybe the most tackles for loss allowed in the entire conference was by NC State a year ago. So you got a true freshman quarterback. You're not establishing the line of scrimmage. And so what happens? You're in 2nd and 11. You're in 3rd and 9. Constantly. That's tough to overcome. I don't care what the play sheet says. I don't know how talented your play caller is. NC State, in order for this offense to grow, has got to improve up front on positive yardage on early downs. They can't play behind the sticks constantly like they did a year ago.
And part of that, obviously, will be play calling and not doing fancy, fun stuff. Like, just hit it. Like, let's just go. And I agree with you. You got to get more movement. And establishing the run has been an issue here at NC State for quite a while. And it's frustrating, right? They've got these first-round draft pick offensive linemen. You got great running backs, and yet it just can't, for whatever reason, get on the same page. But I think there's going to be a real point of emphasis. Hollywood Smothers is a dog. I mean, that's a guy, you get him out in space. His, yards per carry last year was very impressive. I think we see that uptick this year. Like you said, get out of the long situations early, help out your team.
Well, and think about it, too, just purely from a quarterback perspective. C.J. Bailey's a different guy now. It's hard as a true freshman to feel like your voice should be warranted or justified. You haven't done anything yet. You're being thrown to the fire, and all of a sudden now...
And it's Grayson's team.
It's Grayson's team,
it's
right.
Grayson's team.
And you've got live bullets flying by, and unfortunately a year ago, the two biggest vocal leaders on this team was Grayson McCall. The other one was Caden Fordham on defense. And what happened when those two guys got removed, there wasn't that next-level guy to step up, and it's tough to ask a true freshman to do that. Now, this is C.J. Bailey's offense. He's got the confidence of the head coach, the confidence of the offensive coordinator. Second year now under Kurt Roper, who was his quarterback coach a year ago. I think for as much poise as he showed a year ago, I think what you're going to see is poise and added production because he's seen it. He's felt it. Those live bullets have gone by. That, to me, is really exciting for this offense.
There's some change on the offense with the new offensive coordinator. We mentioned Kurt Roper, but let's shift gears now to the defense because they also have some change. Coming in is DJ Elliott. He was hired after spending last year as a senior analyst at Baylor. Last season, NC State allowed 30.15 points per game, their worst scoring defense in a season since Dave Doran's first season in 2013. They also rank near the bottom of the conference in total defense. So you bring in a guy, Elliott. You also bring back Caden Fordham, who is now fully healthy. DJ Elliott is supposed to be the guy that's going to fix all of the troubles possibly last season. EMAC, do you think this team is going to get back to their standard now with Elliott at the helm?
Well, you hope so, right? That's their bread and butter. When I think of NC State, I think of hard-nosed, aggressive defenses that are tough to prepare for, tougher to play against because of what they have, because of the things that they do, and you hope they get back to that systematically. Now, the pieces have to stay healthy. That was a huge piece last year. We've got all these guys. We're excited about them to take their step. It's their team, and then they get injured, and then they're not available. And, Tom, that's the biggest piece specifically with Cade Fordham.
Over Dave Doran's tenure here, you could make an argument that there's not been a better player development program in the ACC. You're talking about guys that maybe were lightly recruited, moderately recruited, come in, they redshirt, they develop them, the next thing you know, they're NFL draft choices, right? And particularly on defense, and we talked about the offensive line. A year ago when Dave Doran and Tony Gibson and probably DJ Elliott in the offseason turned on the tape, they had to have been saying, who is this team?
Right.
This isn't NC State. This isn't NC State defensive football. And it was glaring. And you add that with the recipe of a true freshman quarterback, struggles in the offensive front a year ago, and it was just a recipe that was too difficult to overcome. I think you will see more productivity. You're 100% right. Nobody has a crystal ball. You got to stay healthy. Nobody can forecast whether you will or whether you won't. And I think it's going to also be interesting. The defensive secondary has got some new faces through the transfer portal. And if you look at the front seven, that's the strength of the defense. They kind of know who they are, who their bodies are, and I think that will be the core strength of the unit. But how the secondary develops on the back end over the course of training camp is going to be important too.
And they're shifting to that 4 down front, right? They've been 3 down for probably as long as Coach Doran has been here. How much will that help I don't like 3-down fronts. I think it's easier to block. I think it's easier to target from an
it's
offensive
easier to
line
identify,
standpoint.
too.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. But now when you have 4 down, you can move guys around. You can have a hybrid guy that's a linebacker or edge player. It's a little bit more difficult. So I'm fascinated to see that and see how it works.
Still a lot more to discuss here on the NC State football road trip. We talked about the second level of the defense. Well, one of the leaders of the D is going to be joining us. That's Sean Brown, star linebacker from NC State. We're going to hear a lot more from him, as well as DJ Elliott, first year as the defensive coordinator, coming over as a senior analyst from Baylor. He's going to go one-on-one without Tom Luginbull. Stick around. DJ Elliott after the break.
No matter where you look on campus at NC State, you'll see red bricks, the literal building blocks, stepping stones, and heart of the university. They form the historic buildings and pathways that crisscross campus, and over 500,000 alone lay right here at the Brickyard. They're even under the paint and art of the Free Expression Tunnel. And at Carter Finley Stadium, the red bricks welcome you as you enter, a constant reminder of the strength and connection that is the foundation of the NC State Wolfpack.
Welcome back to the home of the Wolfpack. Time to shift our attention to Pack's defense, because that side of the ball also has a new coordinator. Here to discuss more about the D is NC State linebacker Sean Brown. Day one of camp, Sean. How are you feeling? How was it feeling just to wake up this morning knowing we're about to get after it?
Hey, man, it's always a blessing. It's a blessing to be up here with you guys and a blessing to get back out on the field with my brothers, man, and just go out there and dominate and have fun.
What was the summer conditioning program like for this defense? Because I think the hardest thing to do now in college football is create camaraderie and chemistry with your locker room, because you got so many players going in and out the door. What role do you play in an off-season conditioning program to get you ready for this point?
I mean, it's just really very important to us to just have all the new guys who transfer in, just really welcoming them into the NC State culture and just really bonding with those guys outside of football, you know, and like you said, with conditioning, it's just really letting those guys know how we work at NC State.
You said bonding outside of football. You were mentioning with us that you started to take up fishing again, right?
Yes, sir.
I don't like to fish. I like catching fish, but you
don't like to touch them afterwards?
Yeah, no, I can do that part too.
Yeah,
I don't like sitting and waiting, all right?
Yeah.
So talk to us about your summer, getting back into fishing, and who's a better fisherman, you or your coach, Dave Doran?
Getting back, well, we done a lot of bonding outside of fishing. Like, we had a team cookout. We went to the Fantasy Lake Adventure Park, which is always nice to just do something outside of football with the team. But fishing-wise, I'll give it to Coach Doran, because he's been fishing longer than me, so he knows all the tactics and know what works.
Little tricks.
Stuff. Yeah, he knows what works and what doesn't in different types of water. So I'll give it to him.
I think it is so fascinating hearing that you like fishing, because you're such a chaotic player, right? You wreak havoc, and I think that guy's not want to sit still on a boat or on a shore to fish, but maybe it is peaceful, and I understand that. Let's dive into this defense and getting back to the standard that NC State is looking for. You guys at linebacker, you and Fordham there, I expect really big things. What kind of have you been working on, I guess, this offseason to take that next step, get back to the defense?
Just really working on my leadership and just holding guys accountable. You know, last season obviously didn't go the way we wanted to, and so now we know what doesn't work. And so, no, we're just flipping that script of just knowing we have to try different things. And that's why I really like about Coach Doran, because he's a coach that's willing to learn and willing to learn from his guys, you know. And so he's asking us what works and what doesn't work, and then we're just implementing that into the defense.
For those who aren't familiar with your new defensive coordinator, DJ Elliott, describe his personality and his coaching approach.
Coaching out on the field, he's kind of like a more laid-back coach. He's going to come to the side. When you come to the sideline, he's going to give you your corrections. But, if you're out there, he's going to let you play ball. But in the film room, he's just more of a kind of intensity coach. You know, it's just all right, guys, we've been out there, but now let's make the corrections and let's work on it.
So he coaches off the film. All right.
When you look at that and you guys are having those meetings today, just what do you want to do out here as a defense day one?
As a defense, we just want to fly around. Everybody be in the camera club. Coach calls it just everybody being around the ball, wreak havoc with the offense, and just create more turnovers.
That's Sean Brown, star linebacker for NC State. Best of luck this season, my man.
Thank you.
As Coach Doran mentioned, there's some fresh faces for the coordinators. On defense, you have DJ Elliott. Most recently, Philadelphia Eagles. He was hired as NC State's defensive coordinator and linebackers coach for this 2025 season, and he caught up with our Lugs on the field.
Where do you want your eyes? I want them in the C gap. Hey, when I peek for the ball in my primary gap, come here. My eyes have got to be below the shoulder pad. I don't want to be above the shoulder pad. Where do they need to be? Below the shoulder pad. Okay, here we go. Set. Go. Yes. 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 Now snap those eyes in the gap and see the path to back.
So, Coach.
Yes.
As you're working this drill, every drill's got purpose, right?
Yes.
What is the focus here that you're trying to maintain, and you're talking technique?
So we're working a 6 technique, okay, which the defensive player is head up on the tight end.
Correct.
And he's reacting and then attacking the tight end.
Okay.
So if the tight end steps to the right, he steps to the right, and then he attacks him.
Got it.
If the tight end steps to the left, he steps to the left, then he attacks him. But he's staying in control of the C gap. Either way. So he's got to control the gap 3 ways. My eyes, my body, or his body.
Got it. And unless the ball shows up, then you get in the gap.
I never escape the block,
Correct.
okay, until the ball commits.
Right.
And so if I'm escaping in the C gap and the ball is now bouncing to the D gap, I've now become a 1-gap player, which is what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Now this guy's like, shoot, I don't care, I blocked you. So I'm holding a point in the C gap and I'm keying the path to back. And if he commits to the C, I escape in the C. If he crosses the butt of the tight end, he has to cross the butt of the tight end. If he crosses the butt of the tight end, I escape to the D gap. Okay, keying the path to the back through my primary to my secondary gap. Does everybody understand that? Yes, sir. All right, here we go. Okay, cutoff. Who hasn't got the cutoff? All right, here we go. Sit. Go. Good. Hey, now listen. Hey, after I defeat the block, okay, I got to peek. So my eyes are on the blocker. Your power is where your eyes are. So I don't look for the ball until I've what? Defeated the block, because your power is where? Where your eyes are. So my eyes are on the blocker. Boom! The block is defeated. Bam! My eyes are in my gap. Does everybody understand that? All right, who hasn't got the cutoff? Everybody's gone on the cutoff block? All right, here we go. Arc. Hey, when he arcs you, you become a 5. So now I go from keying the tight end's face mask to the tip of the pad of the tackle. And you execute all the 5 technique stuff that we just did. Does everybody understand that? So give me arc and block down.
So, Coach, what we're working here then is you're looking at different type of blocking techniques upon you and how to react towards them.
And this is called block recognition.
Block recognition.
Yes.
So you've done the combo, you've done the reach, now we're going to do arc.
Correct.
All right.
All right, we got to go. Here we go.
Great stuff, Lugs, with DJ Elliott. Everybody knows the names of players and coaches on the field, but there are countless folks behind the scenes that are making sure things run smoothly. Let's get an inside look at the Wolfpack equipment staff, courtesy of the production crew here at NC State.
My name is Terry Calloway. I'm the head football equipment manager. This will be my 12th season coming up.
As equipment staff, our main priority is making sure everything is done behind the scenes. So just making sure, coaches and players don't have to worry about their equipment or clothes or, what drill set up next. That way they can just go right into coaching and playing and not have to worry about it.
My name is Wayne Hebert, discharged assistant equipment manager. This will be my 40th year coming up. I'll set the fields up, help whatever drill they might need help in. Just odds and ends, just be available.
This past season, coach to player became a new rule in college football. So we introduced that last summer, and I kind of took point as far as coach to player operations are concerned. Test. So the module is already in here. It's behind this white pad. It controls the channel of the volume and the 2 speaker units on each side underneath the ear. So for practice, coach to player right now, Coach Roper has the walkie-talkie and he's putting in the play to CJ at quarterback. So he can hear it, I can hear it to make sure everything's sounding good. And then the student coach right there is hearing the play also and charting it and writing it down.
We have 11 student managers and 2 grad assistants that work underneath me.
They do a lot for us. They're here for all of fall camp and every practice and during the season. They usually come in an hour before practice, and they'll get the script from the coaches and talk to their coaches and see what they need for drills.
We all good with that?
My name is Charlie Hill. I'm the graduate assistant here for NC State football. I work with wide receivers and running backs. My main duties during practice have been assisting with the coach-to-player process, as well as signaling plays for the defense.
My name is Harrison Moore, and I'm a grad assistant here as well. Once practice starts, I'm basically working with the linebackers and specialists, and then by the time we get to Skelly and team, I'm spotting the ball and making sure the ball's put down and giving them time to get to the huddle and get the play call.
So for practices, usually for Skelly team, we get a script that gives us the down and distance. We'll get a down marker that you see down there and a first down marker. Just got to follow the script.
I'm Gabe. I work with cornerbacks, and during team, I feed coach the plays during scripted team, and then during unscripted, I write down what he says, just chart the play calls.
Post practice, we get laundry going. If there's anything we started before practice started, we will get it put up and then just get ready to do the fun stuff of the laundry.
Country Smoke and Wade, they do a great job, just being there for us, just giving us anything that we really need, and just supplying us with all the materials that we need to be great.
Wade, Smoke, Country, they're amazing people, and they get no credit for everything they do, honestly, and they deserve way more credit than they get.
I think it's really good for us to have a good relationship with the players and the coaches. That way they trust us and communicate with us what they need, and if they need anything changed or fixed up, they're good coming to us, and we do whatever we can to help them.
Shout out to the stars behind the scenes, especially Wayne Smoke Hubert, the assistant equipment manager for NC State. He's retiring at the end of this season after 40 years with the school. Congrats, Smoke. I know everyone on the team loves you. Coming up next, it's time to put a bow on our coverage from Raleigh. Things got pretty heated the last time NC State played ECU. We'll preview that match and discuss the difficulty of playing at Carter Finley Stadium. You're watching the NC State Football Road Trip.
Carter Finley Stadium in Raleigh, North Carolina.
That place is going crazy right now.
Here comes the Wolfpack.
Florida State, they're going after a national title and certainly are heavily favored in this game.
Torrey Holt back at his own 28-yard line.
Still on his feet is Torrey Holt. Going to cut it back. He's going to score.
Barnett, there's Holt out there, makes the catch. Torrey Holt to the end zone. The Wolfpack just upset the number 2 team in the nation. NC State takes the field. They hope to shock the Clemson Tigers. Glennon looks for Bryant. Touchdown NC State. Boyd hit from behind, the ball's out. Breezy off the right side. Touchdown. Holy cow.
Number 3, Florida State taking on North Carolina State.
Mike Glennon, here is his opportunity. A national stage.
They blocked it. They got a piece. And it's 4th and goal for the upset. Glennon, touchdown Wolfpack. Glennon on a defining game-winning drive.
The electricity and the opportunity is palpable in the air here.
Clemson ranked number 9.
It comes down to Christopher Dunn
For the win. He missed it. Pulled it left. And we will go to overtime. Leary to the end zone. Caught! Miraculously, Connor!
4th down for the ball game.
Incomplete.
Woo! The Wolfpack come away with the massive upset. Watch out for Hillsborough Street.
That was a blast from the past. Some great memories at Carter Finley Stadium, hoping to make many more memorable moments. Season kicks off August 28th against East Carolina. Now, fellas, both of you have played at Carter Finley. Is it the most underrated venue in the ACC?
It 100% is. You know, and it's funny, I reflect back to my time as a player, and, you know, people asking me the most difficult place to play. And, you know, you can say Florida State, you can say Georgia, Auburn, Clemson. But this place right here is a different level. And, you know, these guys, they're on top of you. The way the stadium is built, I'm pretty sure they've been selling alcohol here forever, so you can smell it as soon as you walk in. And these fans are rowdy. I mean, they do a great job. A true 12th man, an unbelievable environment. They care, man, they care so much about this program, the things that this team does. And, Tom, it's a house of horrors for some teams when they walk in here.
You know, the thing that I love about it, this may sound odd, but I love college stadiums that have a concourse. And if you've ever been to Carter Finley Stadium, on the north end zone, they have a massive concourse that goes around that north end zone. And I think anytime you have a packed house and then you have fans milling around in a almost standing room only type of environment, it just gives it a different feel. And so not a lot of college stadiums have that, and Carter Finley does. And you would say, is it the most underrated? I would probably say it's appropriately rated because, to your point, for those who have coached here, those who have played here, they know it can be a very, very daunting place. And it doesn't matter how good the team is. They're going to show up anyway and make things very difficult.
And I think that's always the most impressive thing. Every time the Huddle has been here, these guys are going ham. These fans are going nuts. It doesn't matter what the record is, what the stakes are. And we've been to a lot of NC State-Carolina games, so those have been a little more rowdy. But I love coming here, seeing these fans, and seeing them go crazy.
Let's take a look at that NC State schedule. It's looking forward and shaping up possibly to be a great season for the Pack. Do they get to double-digit wins? Who knows? But it all starts with East Carolina. They're starting the season off the same way that they ended it. So let's flash back to that Military Bowl game when both of these two teams clashed. The Pirates won a back-and-forth affair with emotions running high late in that, and they'll meet once again on August 28th. There were some fisticuffs involved. It's an emotional game. This is a rivalry. EMAC, you have told numerous people, do not look past any week 2, any week 3 opponent. It starts week 1.
It 100% does. And listen, if you're not from the Carolinas, if you're not an NC State or ECU fan, you probably don't understand this rivalry. You probably don't get the magnitude that these two hate each other. ECU hates you, you hate ECU, and it's going to be fun, right? I mean, Tom, I don't know how rare or how common it is for a team to have played a team in the bowl game, lost to them, and then have instant revenge. Game 1, Thursday night. Listen, we've been talking to some of these players, we've been talking to some of this staff. They're excited for this opportunity and how close it is. They don't have to sit around and wait.
There's a bit of an edge. You know, you got a little PO'd with this football team right here. Listen, I said it earlier in the program. This is one of those games when you're NC State, you can't lose this game.
Correct.
Bottom line, when you look at the schedule and you look at the back half of the schedule, I think this is a team that could start off 5-1, 6-0 going into that Notre Dame game. But again, you have to beat the teams that you're supposed to beat on your schedule.
And I think, you know, again, winning is hard, right? You've coached many, many years. I've played many years. We've all been a part of sport. It's hard to win. But this is a game that physically, I don't know what the scoreboard will look like, you should dominate.
Yes.
You should push these guys around. You should exert your will. Offense should be super effective, efficient, pushing the ball downfield, running the football. I'd love to see that. And then just from a defensive mentality standpoint, you got to hit them right in the face over and over and over. And then we'll come away. We'll see what the score is. You feel good about your performance.
All right, fellas, let's put a bow on our coverage. You're speaking about the expectations and the hype coming into this season, or maybe them flying under the radar. Lugs, I'll start with you. NC State's season is a success if, fill in the blank for me.
If they remain under the radar. Stay right where they are right now. It's when this program is at their best. Let everybody talk about everybody else, as we mentioned. And I think when you do that, now all of a sudden, while you've been under the radar, you start winning some games. Now the confidence and the belief is there. And so now you can come out from under that radar. But just hang in the weeds early on.
Just stay there. For me, it's a success if C.J. Bailey takes the strides that I think he can. And, you know, I'm so fascinated by year 1 to year 2 jumps as a starter at the quarterback position. You typically see a lot of growth there. The good thing about this coordinator change is it's his offensive coordinator that was the quarterback coach last year. So that relationship is there. They're going to ask him to do more. There's going to be more freedom. And he's the guy now, right?
Yeah.
This is his football team, and I think that's going to translate to the field really nicely.
Yeah, I'm also leaning towards C.J. Bailey taking those strides. That is going to be the key predicament on if NC State can take that leap. Fellas, 3 stops down,
Let's go, baby.
14 more to go. Next up, we're going to be heading out to Virginia because there are a lot more teams to discuss here on our ACC football road trip. The discussion has been great from the Triangle, but now we got to head out to the Cavaliers. Tony Elliott and the crew, Chandler Morris, a new quarterback. All right, fellas, give me a very brief synopsis of what you're expecting from UVA this year.
Throw the ball a lot. You and I were talking about that a couple minutes ago watching practice here. Chandler Morris needs to have the full keys to the car and let it rip.
When you have a get over the hump type of schedule, this is the schedule. Virginia has to take advantage of who's not on the schedule to get them to a minimum of 7 wins.
I also spoke to Tony Elliott, and I think what was really intriguing is that he told me that this year feels like the first time in a long time that players are buying into the system, and he thinks that everyone is sold in and locked in.
We'll see.
Fellas, the season is right around the corner. NC State, I mean, I'm trying to bulk up like C.J. Bailey. Nah, I mean 15 pounds of muscle. Come on now. Shout out to all the hardworking staff and crew. For Tom Luganbill, Eric McLean, I'm Justin Walters. Road trip in the book from Raleigh.